Y'all remember when Charlie Kirk and the Republicans was telling that lie? Due to affirmative action, black and brown people were getting preferential treatment over Asians and white people due to college admissions. Well, today, guys, we have a Asian woman, and she comes to let you know that getting rid of affirmative action didn't help Asians at all. Let's see what she got to say.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm still pissed about those Asian Americans who helped that white man get rid of affirmative action. And it didn't even benefit us in the end. Unsurprisingly. So, I need Asian Americans to remember that none of this was ever built for us. The lawsuit that ended affirmative action was not started by Asian Americans. It was led by Edward Bloom, a white conservative activist who has spent years just trying to dismantle civil rights protections because that's the type of person he is. He created Students for Fair Admissions and specifically recruited Asian American plaintiffs to frame this narrative as Harvard discriminates against Asians, but this was never about helping us. It was about using us, as always. About using
We tried to tell you that, ma'am. And no disrespect to you, but we tried to tell y'all that shit. You see, foundational black Americans, we have a PhD in white supremacy studies. And the number one strategy in white supremacy is lying. So whenever you other groups hear white men say something negative about black people, or they're trying to take something away from black people like affirmative action or DEI, they're lying. They're using you.
us to attack policies designed to create equity and level the playing field. Now, you have probably seen a lot of people saying that affirmative action lowers the bar. Oh, DEI also lowers the bar. They're not the same thing, but
Well, here's the thing. DEI and affirmative action, it benefited white people the most. It benefited white women the most. So, guys, let me tell you something. These white supremacists, they know this. They can sit up there and try to blame black people for all this shit all they want to, but they know this. When you look at the numbers and when you look at the facts, DEI and affirmative action benefited white women the most. Black people benefited from DEI in the least of all people. But you see, it's not 100% about black people. What it's really about is about them getting their women back in line. Because being that DEI and affirmative action benefited white women the most, white women would get all kind of goddamn corporate jobs, vice president, CEO positions. So now at this point, white women are making their own money. Now they don't need their men. They want to get those women back in the homes to the point where they can depend on them. That's what they're trying to do. But it's not going to happen. But you see, they can't get anything taken away by going after their own women. So what do? They do what they always do. They lie and they blame black people.
people think they are. That is so misleading and it's rooted in anti-blackness. Also, are we noticing the percentage of white people admitted and the overwhelmingly white legacy admissions at these institutions is something that specifically never gets touched in this conversation? Why?
Facts. Y'all got rid of affirmative action for college admissions, and y'all still ain't benefit. Asians haven't benefit not one bit. Maybe a little here and there, but not one bit. It's all these motherfucking white legacy motherfuckers getting in. That's who's getting in. And they're mediocre. Seriously, they're mediocre. Why you think Donald Trump is talking about importing about 600,000 Asians to come here and do these AI jobs? Because a lot of these white people, they're not talented. They're mediocre. They're useless. They're not going to come out and say this, but that's why they're doing this.
Why is that? Is it clicking? So here's some facts from the case. So Asian students did have the highest GPAs and test scores, but got rated lower on personal qualities by the admissions officers. And for identical profiles, Asian applicants had a 25% chance of getting in, while black applicants had a 95% chance. And that stat gets weapon.
Well, test scores alone doesn't get you in. For those who don't know, test scores alone doesn't get you in.
nice to imply that black students are less qualified, but affirmative action isn't lowering the standard. It's about addressing systemic inequities caused by racist policies like housing discrimination, segregated schools, and the wealth gap, etc. This is classic model minority propaganda portraying Asian Americans as proof that racism is over to justify attacking other communities. That is exactly why they ended the immigration ban against Asians in the US and then only allowed in high achieving Asians from Asia, scientists, doctors, etc., to come to the US so that they could use us to prove that they weren't racist to black people during the Cold War. I need you to pay attention to historical context about how this has all gone down. History is rhyming. It's the same thing. Here's the thing. I want to say that 69% of Asian Americans actually support affirmative action, and advocacy groups like Chinese for Affirmative Action and CIRAC fought to keep it. The loudest anti-affirmative action voices do not represent all of the Asian community. They do represent a narrative designed to divide us, though. And for Asian Americans, especially young Asian Americans, I need you to hear me. Even though many in our community do not align with the model minority nonsense, I can attest to that being true, the ones who do are often the ones that get the most visibility because playing that role perpetuates white supremacy.
Facts. You know, like the Lauren Chins of the world and the Charlie C's of the world. You know, the ones who want white validation, the bootlicks of the Asian community. That's who she's talking about. And there's a lot of them out there. And you see, this is why Foundation of Black Americans have delineated. And nothing against like this woman right here, you know, it says shout out to her for telling the truth. Nothing against Asians on a collective level, nothing, because I got a lot of Asian friends, you know what I'm saying? But we will only deal with people on an individual level because of shit like this. Because you have a lot of Asians who are anti-black. And they want white validation.
And at the end of the day, we have to be real about all of this. None of this was ever for us anyways. This country literally had laws
We tried to tell you that shit many times. Y'all wouldn't listen.
banning us from being here. We have always been seen as outsiders. We have only ever been used as a tool, a wedge to uphold white supremacy, and then they will scapegoat us the second they need to. That has always happened in times of sickness, war, and a loss of jobs. And it is on us to disrupt that role, to stop aligning with anti-blackness, and to refuse to be used as puppets for systems that were never built for us anyway. It is imperative that we, as Asian Americans, learn our history, learn how we've been used, understand it, and choose solidarity. Because if we're not fighting these systems together, we are always on the chopping block. Remember how they treated us during COVID.
Yeah, and we got blamed for that shit too, which was another lie. But shout out to this woman right here for telling the truth. And you know, man, you know, these white supremacists, man, they try to use Asians all the time to create division between other groups, especially Black and Hispanic groups. They put them up as a buffer class and make them believe that they're better than Blacks and Hispanics. But they're playing them the whole time. Even to this day, Asians still haven't benefited from getting rid of affirmative action. It's actually hurt them. It's actually went backwards. They let these white folks play them like that. But however, a lot of these Asians are anti-black. But shout out to this young lady right here for telling the truth, though, man. You know, I like to see other minority individuals like this speak the truth and stand on business. But let me know what you think in the comments, y'all. This your boy MAZ, Mazzo Speaks. Like and subscribe, man. I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. And don't forget to hype the video. I'm out.